headlines with that breaking news out of Pensacola, Florida. 3 people killed, several others injured following that shooting at a naval air station, the second shooting at a military base in a week. Hello, I'm Chris Jansing on a very busy Friday morning. I want to bring in NBC's Sam Brock, who has been closely following the situation there down in Florida. Sam, for folks who are just joining us, what are the headlines out of that press conference that was just held?
Well, you're watching, Chris, the community just trying to come to grips with what it's just witnessed. We heard the governor of the state just now talking about the fact that it has been 200 years since this naval station has been opened. They're a military town, and what they just witnessed, there's some fluidity in the numbers, but an active shooter situation that started about 6:50 this morning, and we now know that 3 people have died and the shooter is dead. That makes 4 deceased, in addition to 7 people right now who are still receiving care in the hospital. We were initially told that Baptist Hospital nearby in Pensacola had received 8 victims, but in short order, we just found out that one of those have succumbed to their injuries. So we're now looking at 4 deaths total. That includes the suspect. And just a harrowing scene this morning. The descriptions that came out of the Escambia County Sheriff's Department there, they received that call at 6:50, had a precinct nearby, and were able to respond very quickly. It apparently happened, the shooting, in a large building, a multi-floor building. Shots were exchanged. And Chris, we just found out that 2 of the deputies in the Sheriff's Department there actually engaged in active fire with the shooter, and at some point were able to, in their words, neutralize the threat. 2 of those deputies did suffer injuries of their own. One was shot in the arm, the other in the knee. Both are receiving treatment right now. But you heard them just a second ago just describe this as almost like a surreal movie scene. Shell casings everywhere, signs of carnage and violence as yet another naval air station here stricken just within this week. Another episode of violence as a full investigation right now is proceeding. You did not hear many details or even disclosure on the background of the shooter, where they are at this stage of the investigation, just that the FBI and that the ATF are both investigating at this time as prayers are coming in, and of course thoughts, resources from the Oval Office, from the governor's office here in Florida, trying to further and advance this investigation as much as they can. For those who are worried that there could still be a threat to their community, here is David Morgan of the Escambia County Sheriff's Department.
The threat has been negated. Our community is secure at this time. We have no reason to believe, or are we looking for any additional shooters within Escambia County, not just within the parameters of NAS Pensacola. I would tell you this strikes home particularly hard for me as a retired military member. Walking through the crime scene was like being on the set of a movie. And as the mayor eloquently put, you just don't expect this to happen at home. This doesn't happen in Escambia County. It doesn't happen in Pensacola.
And yet it did happen. We do know that this happened in a classroom there. In terms of how bad it could have been, David Morgan talking about the fact that if those deputies had not responded as quickly as they did, and he couldn't give a precise time on it, but very quickly, in their words, if they had not responded with such alacrity, he is worried this could have been a lot worse than what it was. And again, some absolutely just difficult numbers to even digest here. 8 initially injured and at the hospital. We now know 1 has deceased, so 7 people still receiving treatment, 3 people who are killed, the shooter who is now dead, and a community that has this military base and its culture and its DNA and fabric now trying to reconcile with the fact that there's been yet another violent episode, another shooting here in Pensacola.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.